Okay, we're ready. Let's call to order the Public Safety and Equity Advisory Committee meeting for November 7th, 2024. So I'll do roll call. Victoria is excused. Woodrow? Shelby Stafford is here. Carol Allen?
Here.
Carla Harrington?
Here.
Mary Howell?
Here.
Sherry Winters?
Here.
Rodney Cottrell?
Here.
And Captain Evans? And how about it looks like Nick? Nick's here too. Okay. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So let's see, I will open public comment. So let's see, I'll open it to in the room. We have anybody in the room that wishes to speak to come forward? Okay. How about online, anybody? Let's see.
This is Paul Wilcox.
Hello, Paul.
You hear me? I just wanted to mention, I have a couple observations for the police report later in the meeting.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? That's it. Okay, I'll close public comment. So next thing on the agenda is approval of the September 5th. We'll start with that one. Meeting minutes.
This is Sherry, I would like to make a couple of tiny little edits.
Okay.
So page 2 of the notes, third to the last paragraph where it says Sherry Winters stated that, okay, I'm not gonna read the whole thing. The very last line says, and brining community together. It should be bringing community together.
Okay. So noted.
Okay, page 3, under section 7, last paragraph, Captain Asbo stated, so it gets down to, it says, historically, this committee's goals have been too broad. That's supposed to be TOO. And not measurable and not time limit. I think it's supposed to be no time limit.
It's TOO.
Yeah.
Too broad.
That's what I
what
said.
she said.
I thought you said TWO.
No, TOO, sorry, 2 O's. Okay, I think that's it. That's all my changes.
Anybody else have one? I have one. Right on that third page, top row, says Woodrow Terrell stated, and even like, I think that's supposed to be event.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, well, anyone want to make a motion that we accept the minutes as amended?
Sherry Winters, I make a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
Eli seconds.
Okay, any discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion passes. Unanimous. All right. So how about moving on to the minutes from October 3rd, 2024? Oh, Ro?
This is Sherry. I'm asking this question because maybe this is how it's supposed to be stated and I just didn't realize it. Under section 4, approval of August 1 minutes, and it says motion, Sherry Winters move to adjourn.
I think it should be accepted minutes.
Okay. So,
Yeah,
okay.
Any other corrections that anybody has?
This is Twyla. On October 3rd, it says Shelby Staffenson's noted a correction. The guest listed as Linda Mann was actually her, and that can be removed.
Oh,
I'm not sure what.
I know what she meant is that there wasn't a Linda Mann as a guest. Linda Mann was not a guest, that was my computer.
Okay.
So she didn't recognize the name, so she noted it as a guest, and it wasn't a guest, it was me.
Do you think we should clarify that by saying was not here?
Was actually Shelby.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's probably the most clear, yeah.
Actually, not rather than her, Shelby, yeah. Not that it can
Maybe
be
you
removed.
say it was actually Shelby's computer,
Okay,
because you were here too.
okay,
I don't know.
okay, that's good, yeah. Okay, anybody else? Otherwise, I'll take a motion.
This is Carol. I move that we accept the October 3rd, 2024 minutes.
Okay,
Is Sherry, I second?
okay, any discussion? All right, all in favor of accepting the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
All opposed? Okay, motion passes. All right, moving right along. Let's go on to the next one. Well, it's time to review the monthly law enforcement reports. So, Catherine Devens, you have the floor.
All right. Hello, everyone. So hopefully you had time to review the reports. I've worked a lot. I've been working a lot with Ray Young on a whole bunch of different topics besides the contract negotiations and everything else. Statistics are a big one that him and I are going over. I have looked over this. One of the changes that our analyst Kevin Morelli gave us was on page 2 on this report. He said that, I'll kind of read what he said. In addition to a historical view, second page provides a table that shows which specific crimes were reported in Troutdale over the last 10 periods. So it just kind of digs in a little bit more in regards to what is occurring in Troutdale compared to the previous month and the previous year. So looking over all of these stats, like I'm assuming we want to do like we did at last month's meeting. We don't want to go over each one specifically. I don't see any glaring increases or decreases in crime or traffic stops or accidents in Troutdale in October. So I guess I'm just gonna leave it as, if anyone has any questions on what you can read here, feel free to shoot away at me. Well, don't shoot away.
Mary Howe, I have just a comment, I think, on the traffic accident report. I noticed that there were a lot down on Frontage Road. And I didn't have a chance to actually kind of go back at the previous ones, but is that just something that, I mean, I know we usually have several, but it just seemed like, yeah, that there was quite a few on the 700 block, 400 block, Troutdale, or Frontage Road, 700 and 400. Is that more than we normally get, it seems like?
Well, I wish he would have put on here on the traffic accidents, the comparable from the previous month, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah.
I don't know why
Anyway,
that
it's
would
just
be-
a comment that I observed.
This is Sherry, I think it's more like location.
Right.
Seeing location, like is there something going on in that area that would be creating a potential for more?
There was nothing going on Frontage Road that,
Yeah, I didn't
And these
think
are-
so either.
and these are, yeah, and these are different days, they're different times.
And I had one more question.
Actually, one day on Friday the 25th, we had 4 accidents on frontage. So there's 4 of them right there on one day.
Yeah,
Just makes you wonder if there wasn't something going on.
Hey, Captain, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Nick.
I believe that when those accidents occurred, it was during the heavy rains because I was working on a couple of those days and we were inundated with crashes all on day shift and swing shift, and it was just crash after crash that day.
Okay, well, that's a good explanation, because these
Yeah.
were all around 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Yep, that's probably that day.
This is Sherry. Since Nick, you were responding, is that an area that with heavy rain would tend to puddle more?
No, not that I can think of. I think it was just, it had been dry for a while, and then we got the rain, and then people just continued to drive the way they normally drive, and they were crashing.
Okay, thank you.
And I would assume that this would be south frontage, people coming right off the freeway going eastbound, which they're usually speeding, coming off there, so with all the heavy rain and such.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my question, is I experience a lot down there, the semis get tired of waiting, so they just pull out and people are coming down there. So just wondering if it was car versus car, or we're talking like more the semis versus cars?
That wouldn't show, that difference of a semi or vehicle or a car wouldn't show on this report. But I know what you're saying, and when the semis do pull out, they don't stay in the close right lane. They pull out in the center lane, because usually they're gonna go on east, so that shuts off the entire frontage road there.
Yeah.
With the Terrell, Kevin, can you clarify? I could have sworn we had a question like this months ago. And this is the date, the location is actually the reporting location, not necessarily accident location. So this could have been something that occurred on the highway, and then when they pulled over on the frontage road, that's the address they used.
I wasn't here.
No
when
worries,
you guys
just when,
talked about
maybe
that.
the analyst can do some clarification
Yeah,
for us
for
as well.
sure. I did not know that. So you're saying they might have called from frontage road, but the accident.
It
could be
occurred
on
somewhere, and then
84.
that's where they pulled over, and that's where they called from, which gave the location of the frontage road. I wanna say that came up when we also talked about the hit and runs. There was a large number of hit and runs that occurred with the police department's address.
Yes.
And that's because the location of some of those reports was the parking lot.
Got it.
So just, I don't know if there's a way to clarify the location occurrence versus the location reporting.
I will ask him tomorrow morning.
Also, I was just wondering on the clear remarks, where, it's report written or assignment complete.
What
Are
page
those
is-
assignment completes, are the reports written as well? It's just assumed the report is written?
What page are you looking at?
Oh, I'm sorry. Call log.
Okay.
Service, the service call logs.
So, yeah, so
The clear
if
remarks.
assignment complete is not where they're writing a report. So that could be where someone might have wanted some information, or it would be where they didn't pull a case number, but maybe they did.
But these have case numbers, right?
That's going to be the CAD number,
That would
which
be-
it automatically generates a case number.
So
That's the,
these,
like, the incident number.
so these incident numbers here in this call log are CAD numbers, or they're actual police assigned MCSO case numbers?
Those would.
They're the same thing.
It changed a few years
Did it?
ago, because I know exactly what you're talking about. So yeah, we do now use that number as the case number if we
Okay.
write a report.
So the J's, then it's assumed that there is no report written for those?
So that would be no report, correct? But that would be where they took care of the call.
Sure.
They completed it, but they didn't write a report.
Okay.
But there's still an incident history in the CAD.
Okay, I guess my concern is I know that CAD is only kept for so long before it's all purged out. So really, the statistics for the city of Troutdale are not, maybe as accurate as, I mean, it makes it look like there's hardly any crime going on in the city of Troutdale. Because these are all, I mean, CAD calls I know are not kept on file like Oregon State, assigned case numbers.
That's a good, I can't answer that.
No, I know, I'm just saying,
I'm not
it's
a
a
records
comment.
guy, so,
She's in the know.
That's good to know.
Hey, Captain, if I can explain it,
sure.
as far as I know, anytime a CAD number is pulled, that will not be purged because I can pull up CAD numbers from all the way back from when we switched over to region. And I can pull up a CAD number, whether there was a report written or not. So it stays in the system, at least dating back to 2015 or 16, whenever we switched over to the new region system. So I'm not sure if there is an actual purge date on it, but I know I can pull call numbers from back then.
Okay, my question is then, the actual cases that get assigned are the cases that are reported to the state. And I know that for a fact from where I used to work for Portland Police Records for 37 years. So again, these are skewed. And so it always looks like City of Troutdale reports and other agencies as well, if they do this, are not.
So what you're saying is if an agency writes reports on everything, they're gonna show a high call load.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, you would think that some of I know for a fact that some of these aren't gonna be, they're gonna be in CAD, but if somebody phones in and says, oh, can you print me a list of calls that, of all police reports written, reported, it's going to be different. It's going to be a lot less because these ones that reports aren't generated aren't in your system
Sure.
to report to the state crime. So therefore, there's a lot of cases that are falling through.
Mary, can you give me an example of one like that then? I'm on the page 1 of this calls
I'm
for
just-
service log.
Like welfare check, I guess, or any of them that have the J.
All right, so the second one
Assignment
here, this welfare
completed.
check. So,
Unless, that's why I was wanting a clarification on if assignment completed meant report written as well. Or
No,
if it's not,
That would
I
be,
mean-
they didn't write a report.
okay.
because they were there in 3 minutes
So,
and gone in 12.
I mean, there's disturbances, that get reported. And I'm just gonna tell you, for my own personal, incidents, having to call officers to my house to report things, initially, they never got reported. They never wrote a report. And it only went into CAD. Well, then I had some other, things going on, some other things. And the officers decided not to report it. And I said, no, I want it reported because I want it documented. Well, it's in CAD. It doesn't matter. It should be reported. It was malicious mischief. We had, anyway, it was a crime. And anyway, so I ended up, this was back in the day, so this is not any time recent, but I know that it still happens, that things aren't getting reported in a fashion that really is, so the statistics are skewed.
So Sherry, if I could clarify, all of these ones, we see many that say J, assignment completed, that if we were looking at this same information a different way, none of those would show up.
Correct.
Okay.
Because the ones that get completed, those reports get written and they go into and processed by, and coded with the uniform coding that all police agencies use. And then it can get reported to the state and that they're not being, right? reported to the state.
Well, I can tell you that what you are looking at here in regards to assignment completed or report, this is what all agencies do. There is not an agency that writes a report on all calls, so
Right.
I don't know if skewed is the right way to say it or not, in regards to how the state uses those statistics. I know we've gone back years and years, even with Ray last week, we went back to where we had the City of Troutdale Police Department in 2014. And it showed around 10,000 calls for service. So even, we went back to 2014 and it showed calls for service. It didn't show calls that had a report written. And I don't know where he got those, it could have been BOEC, could have been the state, I don't know. But my assumption is that the state does something in regards to reported calls that we wrote reports on, calls that, you know. So I don't think skewed would be the right way, because the city of Gresham is doing this, just like Portland does.
Right.
You know, you look at like a welfare check. That could be, we were talking about frontage road, that could be where somebody called in and said there's someone laying in a sleeping bag on frontage road by Motel 6. So a deputy will go there, check, and it's just a sleeping bag. So they would clear it, and they would, in their notes, would say there was no person found, just a sleeping bag there, assignment completed.
But there's like, the date is October 7th, a threat, and it's cleared with a no report written as well. And I know that, I mean, you know, maybe there should have been a report written, I don't, just as a means that somebody was threatened. I mean, in my case, we had vandalism and markers to our car. I can't think, it was a child. We knew who it was. It was constant, had the officers out a couple of different times. They didn't want to do anything about it. We were told that they would, anyway, my point is, it's still, that is an issue. And it was frustrating because a report wasn't written. When we had them come out the second time, he couldn't, you know, find anything. Of course, it was in CAD, but as far as if we ever caught the kids or the people doing it, there wouldn't be anything on file. You know, I'm just saying, I think it has to do with actual incidents occurring and not being addressed and statistically documented. That's all I'm saying, in a fashion that maybe should be.
Well, I think it's not.
So those reports, like for instance, the threat report, we get a lot of calls regarding threats. And when we go and deal with the call, it turns out it's not a threat in probably 95% of the cases. It's people being rude online, being rude in person, being rude on the phone, and then they call 911 and then they assume that they had been threatened. And a lot of times they're just like, I just want to know what I should do if this continues. So we'll tell them, you know, you could apply for a no contact order or whatever legal avenue they should go down if it warrants to that point. Many times when these, like I said, when these threat calls come in, they're not even a crime or a criminal, even close to a criminal related matter. So there would be no report written on that.
And the thing with that is, if there's no report written, when you go to the courts, they want copies of the reports because it's documentation. And it's helpful against the, or for them in order to get the protective order.
Yep.
Or whatever, and if they're not written, so I guess that's kind of where I'm going, is it's just, it's not, it makes it harder for citizens if things come, do progress in that situation. And I do understand that there's just a lot of times that it's not, it's just, yeah.
And there's times where, where we have that happen and they want a report for something when it's not a crime or has elevated to a criminal level. And which a lot of times when this argument gets brought up, that's where I will tell people, is it okay for us to put people's names in police reports when no crime or even suspicion of crime has occurred? And my answer to that is I don't believe that's correct to put people's names in a police report when they haven't committed a crime or even come close to that even occurring.
So
Well,
I guess to kind of on what you're saying, I would hope that if you told a deputy with the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office, I need a police report, will you please write a police report for me, document this? I would hope we would do that.
yeah. My experience wasn't with county, it was previous to that, so.
The Troutdale police?
It was.
What?
Do we know anybody who was with them then?
And I had to push for it,
Yeah.
and it was only because, yeah.
Well, I can tell you it wasn't me, is what I'm gonna.
No, it was not. I remember who they were. Some are here, some aren't.
So, yeah, I can't answer that about you would know more than me, I haven't worked records. So, I don't think skewed would be the right way, because we're
Yeah,
not
I'm
doing
sorry, you
anything
can take that
different.
out if you want, but you see what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're
Correct,
saying, yeah.
But
we're not doing
Yeah.
anything different than any other.
and I guess, how long have I been here, and I just got to thinking about that this week.
And to
Because I saw
Mary's
that, and I
point-
thought, sign a complaint, well, what does that mean? Well, how come it's not, yeah, so
And let
that's
me-
why I
so
asked it.
I can add, and you'll understand this. So, let's say you're an agency and you wanted to show a lot of activity, okay? So, you can see on some of this on these reports, there's self-initiated activities. You could, if that's what you wanted to push for your officers and deputies, you could say, I want every single thing you do out there to be done over dispatch and a call created. Because it doesn't happen right now. So, I guess my point is, numbers can be somewhat twisted and such. I think all of these calls go to the state, and I think they would break them down in if a report was written or not. That's what I think. I could be wrong.
So then I think, this Woodrow, so I think what Mary's question, and it's a valid question, is does Troutdale have a greater number of calls for service that go undocumented or reported, one of the two terms, I'm not sure. Is that the question?
Yes,
And then,
it is.
and then to be able to look at that and compare that to Fairview, Wood Village, Gresham, where do we
But
fit in with
Well,
calls versus,
now you're going, that would be a hard thing to even begin, but I guess my concern is, I would like to think that our officers would be very mindful, and I know that they are, but I'm just saying, and I imagine this day and age, I know there's more people just, I'm calling the police, and there's really not a report to be written. I totally understand that. But I think that sometimes that maybe there should be reports written. I don't know, and like I said, I'm only basing that also because of working and getting phone calls where I worked, and of course, it's been a while, but I can't imagine that point hasn't changed over the years. Where people say, well, how come a report wasn't written, so, well, now you're gonna have to re-report it. And also for my own personal circumstance that I had run up against.
So I think we got two
So-
different topics. It's, should we write reports on those type of calls that you experience? To
Right.
answer your question, there are no unreported calls that go through dispatch.
Right.
All of those are reported.
All right. Because we don't know what we don't know.
I have questions, but not related to this. Or maybe.
Okay, go ahead, Sherry.
Okay, the first one is probably ridiculous. On the first page of your call log, last one, location.
I looked it up, it's a bar, it's a restaurant.
Okay, so I've never seen them put actual names of stuff in before. So I thought, what is that?
On the taquito paquito one?
It's a
I thought that was
Mexican
on,
restaurant bar.
By the old Albertson strip mall there.
It's something different than Pellini's or Pauline's? Oh, okay, wow. I can't believe I didn't know it. No, just kidding.
It's right there, house, right?
I don't know about it.
Just teasing, I thought it just, okay, my next one is kind of related to unreported. But you might have a reason why, and I was gonna ask you ahead of time, because I wasn't sure this was kosher, but I'm on 1016, so I couldn't tell you what page it is, I can't hardly see this. But I can confirm that I'm not seeing what I thought I would see on this day. Is there a reason you wouldn't have something reported that would have involved 3 of your police officers, or 3 of your police cars?
All right, so which one are we looking at here on 1016?
Well, none, because it's not there, but I'm looking on 1016 and I cannot find it. And I don't know how much I should say, as this is recorded and could be heard later, but is there some type of stuff that you might do that you wouldn't report or tell us because it's under some type of an investigation?
Well, if it involves juveniles or some type of a sex crime or something to where,
Well, it could.
Can I interject here, Shelby? I think it's been reported for, if it started in another area and then it ended up in Troutdale, it was first reported in Gresham, they don't capture them, we don't get it.
Oh.
Isn't that right?
sure, so
Because
yeah.
I think if it started
even
and
if it's-
originated.
If it was in Gresham,
And
but
then
it
it-
ended up in Troutdale,
The report,
it would not
usually
show
we don't
as-
hear about it.
it'd be a Gresham call, even though it ended up in Troutdale.
Even if it was more police came, not, there wasn't 3 initially, but more came, it would be that? It would still be the same way, just because the
It's,
first?
yeah, it's where the crime occurred
Okay,
originally.
then maybe that was it. Okay, thank you. I have an oddball question that doesn't relate to this, and it was more about us and thinking about safety. And not like suicide looks like it's gone up in numbers or anything according to this, but is there anything related to the suicide attempts or anything that would be something as we as a committee would need to think about or related to public safety?
Well, I don't know how deep we want to get into this. Because I have my views and we need to get more mental help. And we are constantly working with people in crisis, mental health crisis, constantly. And the resources we have are so slim. So it could be a Multnomah County issue, it could be a state issue. I don't think you can't just focus on Troutdale for what we can do. I think we're making some headway, but it is so prevalent. And even back when I was, a patrol guy, there were a lot more resources for me to take people to get help than there are now. And it is a daily thing that these deputies are dealing with, daily, with 0 resources. We do have the deflection center now, where we can take them to downtown Portland and get some help there. So we're making strides.
So in a case of somebody attempting suicide, that's something that could take them to the deflection center if they're willing to go?
Well, if they're willing to go,
Okay, but that's an actual option if they'd be
But,
willing to go?
yeah,
Okay.
but not to get into it too much for you, to bore you, but for us to do a mental hold on someone, they need to be a threat to themselves or others. And if people know the key words to say, it takes a lot for a police officer to take someone's liberty, someone's freedom, especially in regards to us determining if they're unable to care for themselves or they're a threat to someone else. So, and even if they are just going through the worst mental health crisis and they're violent, our resources are literally to call AMR, follow them to the hospital, if they'll take them to the hospital, and if the hospital will accept them. And a lot of times it's waiting in the waiting room for hours.
Well, I think you had something.
Oh, yes, I was just, as a registered nurse, this is definitely, like you said, a resource issue, and working in emergency rooms for years, people stay in mental health crisis in a tiny little room for days because there's not enough resource, there's not enough beds. And so yes, we see it in our community, but it really is a societal issue, and there is so many layers to unpack to figure out how to remedy the problem. I don't know that it will be fixed here tonight, but it's good to bring up, right? Because it is out there, and as we move into the dark winter months, I think we start to see more depression and such, and it's good to watch your friends and encourage people to get help.
Mary, I was just wondering, does county or city or have a mobile crisis unit that goes around?
Multnomah County has a Project Respond. Are we using anyone else, Nick, besides Project Respond?
No, well, we have the Project Respond and Gresham has their clinicians, but I haven't utilized them. I've seen them on calls. I'm not sure if they would come out to us if we requested them. I would assume that they would, but I don't know for sure on that answer.
City of Gresham is, they are really on top of it. It's a really, really good police department, and they have basically outreach personnel for the police department that they can use, and specially trained officers that can
And
go.
then, so they have a unit that goes like to the houses and such, because I think,
They ride with the officers out there a lot of times.
oh, okay. Because I know Vancouver, recently, I know of a friend of mine whose family member up in Vancouver had a medical or mental crisis, and they came to their house, mobile crisis unit, and I don't know if it was Clark County or Vancouver PD, but I was surprised, I guess, that they actually just them showed up, but again, they were very limited at what they could do.
In theory, that's
It
what
was, yeah, pretty
we would
crazy.
want here, but again, to get like Project Respond to come out to Troutdale, they're usually in Portland. We're making strides.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do just want to share the reason I live in the house now is a few years ago, I lived a little bit closer to Sunrise Park there, and I had a neighbor that was in a severe mental health crisis. And the deputies were out at her house, my house, multiple times a day over that summer, and I in fact had to end up moving because, I think the court systems and everybody really takes people's autonomy, and I will say they did a wonderful job. They did bring the crisis team and mental health workers out to that house many, many times, but people, when they engage with that system, they have rights, and so they would go to the hospital and come home and stop taking their meds, and and it became a multi-year saga. And finally things got remedied, but I just want to, working with the sheriff's department, they were wonderful. And when they brought that team in, they also were wonderful, and it sometimes it just takes so much time. And then things can happen, but it was a little too slow for my family and some of the threats we were getting, so we ended up moving. Oh my goodness.
Did you have something with that?
So I came from Phoenix, and we implemented a system called the Regional Behavioral Health Authority, REBA. And there's other states that have done similar things, and it was a intermediary group that it contracted with all the health service providers for, crisis response team, emergency response teams. And this all dealt with behavioral health. And I just went to look to see what Oregon's REBA was, and it's part of OHA. So it's still a government entity. So the major difference was that the REBA down in Arizona was its own entity, right? It was outside of the government. It interacted with the government for funding and resource and direction and priority, but then it took the money and contracted with the service providers. And one of the benefits, I think, is that you have a lot more urgency and action. So it's an independent organization that can, turn around and, we need a crisis response team. And then the other thing too is that they could petition the state and say, hey, we want a behavioral health court. We don't want to send anybody with behavioral health issues through the standard court system where it gets log jammed and you start talking about legal precedents and court cases with people that don't have behavioral health issues. And you bring those behavioral health issues out into its own little judicial type area because there's special circumstances and things like this. So it's like, similar but different outcomes and a lot more layers of bureaucracy. Anyway, sorry, I keep bringing up where I came from. I told you I wasn't gonna do that, I'm sorry.
The nice thing is we have a city manager who is really on top of this, and actually Ray and I met with the joint office, and Nick, actually, we met with someone from the joint office. And Ray's really pushing to get dedicated outreach workers out in East Multnomah County for Troutdale and Gresham, because we don't see them often. And they've agreed to that, so we're making some good moves. And like I said, Ray is on top of it, and we've been meeting with the joint office, so.
Well, awesome. I like that. I just want to make sure that we focus on outcomes, right?
Yep.
And we definitely have the reporting structure set up for something like that as well. So when we talk about implementing those types of services and providing, that we can say, okay, what are our metrics going to look like, right? How's the dashboard going to change? And what will that look like to show outcomes? If we picking up, people in our population, how do we tell if they're really Troutdale citizens or not? They find them in the park, or they Glen Auto. We call them Troutdale if they're sleeping in, right? And how can we do the best for what those people are? And how can we measure those outcomes? I'll be quiet.
Anybody else have any comments, questions for the captain? Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so moving along. Number 6, safety survey discussion. Okay, guys.
Shelby,
Yes,
excuse me, Paul Cox had a couple of questions for Captain Bevins.
I'm sorry, I forgot about you. Sorry, Paul.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Okay. I had a couple of things that caught my attention. First was actually covered by Mary Howell, the disproportionate number of accidents down on Frontage Road. I counted about a third of the total accidents were at that location, but you've addressed that pretty much. My other one was there were 6 stolen vehicles reported, and 3 of them were on Dunbar Road on the same day.
Yeah.
So I was kind of curious about that. And that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
So Monday, the 14th, we had 3 stolen vehicles reported, so that's not recovered. my guess is the 700 block of Dunbar is a business. A Subaru, a Ford, and
The 700 block of Dunbar's at the end of the dead end there by the railroad tracks where they usually dump abandoned stolen vehicles.
okay, the cul-de-sac there.
Yeah, right at the chain link fence by Union Pacific.
But this is showing reported stolen, not recovered.
The only thing that's back there, there's not a car lot or anything back there, so I don't know what that would be.
Yeah, I don't either, because these are older Subaru, older Ford, and I don't know if that's a motorcycle, KTMX.
So it's not a recovered stolen, it's actually a reported stolen.
That's what, see, I would assume that would be, these would be recovered stolens, but this is clear, as vehicles reported stolen.
That's an unusual location for that.
It is. So Paul, I can't give you an exact answer on that of why that is not a normal area that vehicles would be stolen from, because it's a road that goes south from frontage and then ends at the railroad track there.
I would almost think that could be coded incorrectly and it should be a reported or a recovered stolen versus a reported stolen, but I could be wrong.
That's exactly what I'm thinking too.
But this is Carol, if you look on the other side, it says vehicles reported stolen, it says 1. And it's at that address.
Oh, yeah.
So both of them, it's still the same dates, so I'm a little confused.
Well, no, let's see, it's a different day.
It's pulling up as a business.
No, but it's the different dates as in, it's October 1st through the 31st.
Lots of business.
Yeah, it's businesses when I put it in the phone, the 700 Northwest Dunbar, Troutdale.
I got auto sales, auto repair.
Isn't Dunbar off of Marine Drive that goes, isn't it down that past the industrial thing and then Dunbar?
That's one Dunbar.
Oh, that's one, never mind.
Transmission shop,
Okay. Oh, I think it's that shop.
engine rebuild shop.
Yeah, I can look into that for us. Because on the second page, it says Thursday, October 24th, 2024. Oh, it is a different day, sorry, not the 14th, it's the 24th, okay.
Looks like there's a couple used car dealerships too.
It's just confusing when one page says 6. It's just it looks like it's a total different report.
This is where they always put where's the verbiage that says right down here, recovered. I always get confused because so much on that page
This one's
says
recovered.
vehicles reported stolen vehicles, and you have to look down where it lists the individuals, and then it's saying that it's recovered. But everything else so much looks the same.
So 1 car was recovered, 6 were stolen.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
And the front page says 11, but I know those are just calls that didn't turn out to be.
Well, then even the previous 30-day period for stolen vehicles is not right. On the cover sheet, we got the current 30-day period, 11 stolen vehicles.
But that's because that's what's reported to BOAC. This is what I remember asking about this. This call sheet is like what BOAC, when somebody calls in, but then what actually happens is on these other pages. So it's like, well, somebody called in, but there was no vehicle stolen, so that's why.
Or they didn't have the required paperwork.
Okay,
You have
these
to
are
have
the ones written.
Okay, that
If it's
was,
registered to
these are the
them,
ones
if it's
written.
not registered to them, you can't take it as a stolen vehicle. It has to be the
okay,
owner.
okay, I didn't know. I just know that this front page is BOAC and to not tie the numbers back there. Okay, well, I guess if you can get us any information about that for next time, in case it was coded wrong. So, okay, anybody else? All right, so thank you. Okay, now we'll move on to number 6, safety survey discussion. So, I believe it's on the water bills. I talked to them, they were gonna do it, and I think I got confirmation they're on. Maybe not as bright and calling attention as we thought.
Do you get Do you get a paper
Everybody
water
see it
bill?
on your water bill?
I just tear open the side that says the money and how much I owe, so I didn't see it.
It is on the water bill?
Yeah, it's not, I mean, no offense to,
It's just not as big as we
I didn't
thought.
see it.
it's not hardly noticeable at all.
Okay.
So my landlord pays the water, so I never see the water bill.
Okay, and
Yeah,
so
we
that
knew
is
you
the other
didn't
thing
know
that
those.
we have, we're working on that outreach, and so that
Wow.
would be another thing to discuss tonight. I identified 3 apartment complexes and I've called
Hopefully it
them,
doesn't turn.
and one of
That's all
them
my water bill.
has just said, send me,
So,
and they'll
my bill
email all
part
the
is, I mean,
residents.
like, the money
Another one
comes here,
says,
this is-
you send me a note, I'll forward it
But
on
here
to
it
the
is, just-
manager, and she'll get back to you on how we can communicate with those residents. And the third one has not answered me. So, but just exactly what you're talking about, I said, we need to know where are all those, because those are the 3 that I identified, but you might be working on that connection there for the
The RV
our
park.
RV park.
Well, I know who it
How
is.
best if it makes sense to print up little QR codes to pass around, if it's better, however it is that you think it would work for the
If
RV
you got
park.
75 pieces of paper with the QR codes, just hand them to me and I'll
Okay,
put them in there.
okay, so that's one of the things that we'll do, is they'll get printed. 75 you want.
Did you know, did you see what it looks like?
My husband pays the water bill, I never look at it.
Same here.
Well, how does it look? What does,
I
I'm
mean-
curious now, I'm gonna have to
Oh, I
go
wish
look
we
at
could
it
show
when I
it,
get home.
can somebody pull it up? Did you get it on your water bill there, Robbie?
So this is my upper numbers
Okay.
part.
I do not get a paper bill.
Okay, never mind then. I'm just
But I do
gonna-
have updated results to share with everybody too.
Okay, well, yes, I will have you do that too. So it's unfortunately on the water bill, it's not as big as we wanted. But it's, we can't do anything about that now. I mean, we could ask for it to be redone again for the December water, or do water bills come out every other month? Every month, okay, so we could,
And then this is Carol, regarding the QR code, it would be nice, when I was there with Twyla, that first Friday, we didn't have them on the small pieces of paper. And so, we noticed that other committees that were there, or other agencies, that they would have a little QR code where people could take the paper with them. So I would recommend that you look at that for the future, is that you have a QR code on little papers where people can take them with them. So, depending on how long you want this survey to go, I don't know if there's a deadline that we put on it.
I don't think you were here to hear this last month. We talked through the end of the year. And in
Okay.
January, we intend to look and summarize the results, write a report, or whatever we summarize and decide that the results are, that we will, a report to be presented to the work group, get on the agenda for the work group and city council. So, but Robbie has actually, I don't know if I should jump to that, but Robbie can show us what we've gathered so far, what is happening. And I did get entered those ones that were paper copies. I did get
Good.
those.
Sweet, yeah, I'll start sharing my screen.
Okay,
Let me know when you can see it.
you can see it.
Is it coming through?
It's coming through.
Perfect. So I just had it pulled up to this screen just as a refresher for everyone on the different sections of the map. So just spoiler alert, D over here is going to have the largest number of responses, just for everybody's awareness. So coming over here to the responses, I'm going to zoom in, and instead of doing what I did last time where I'm just repeating every question, I'll just let everybody kind of review at their own speed one by one. So definitely some interesting insights, but I'll just scroll and let everybody read, and then we can kind of discuss afterwards.
This Sherry, Robbie, I just want to point out that I think we had 20 or something last time, and
Yes.
we are up to 107 responses.
Yeah, so I've been hard at work publicizing this and getting it out there. Paul, I know that you have Nextdoor. If anybody else has seen my posts on Nextdoor, that has garnered quite a bit of responses. It got lots of engagement. throughout a couple of posts on there. Additionally, I've been connecting, Twilight connected with you on LinkedIn, and I've been trying to get that word out individually, person to person. Got really, really good engagement with that. People are really liking the survey. They're just like, where has it been? Why haven't I heard about this before? So once they find out about it, they respond within a couple of minutes. So yeah, the last time that I showed it to you, we had 21 responses, and we're up to 106. So whatever that is, 85 or something, has been collected in the meantime. Do you know, before I continue on, when did that water bill go out? Do we know? Was it the first of the month?
I believe I got my bill yesterday in the mail.
Okay. Yeah, because so if you can see my tab up here, this is the spreadsheet that all of the results export to. You can see that there was a big burst. This was like the last time that I really posted it out there. I would assume that these responses likely that were collected within the last 2 days. So 2 of them came in yesterday and 1 of them came in today. I would assume that that's the start of people receiving their water bills. But keep me honest there in case that wasn't when people started receiving them.
Oh, and I will clarify that probably all those ones on 11.1 were probably me entering the paper.
Oh yeah, you're totally right. Yeah, probably all of these, which are like right within, it looks it looks like you're an average of 5 minutes per response, Shelby. So good job. But coming back here, so yeah, we can see that pretty much everybody was from D.
Okay.
And I'll just start scrolling. Let me know if I need to slow down or if you want me to stop. This was good to see.
Robbie, do any of these have comments?
Yeah, yeah, we will get to the comments. There's been a lot of individual comments left, but they're just at the bottom of the survey. So yeah. This was also very good to see. People feel pretty safe walking.
That's curious.
That's interesting. All ends on the spectrum.
Okay. Hey, will you pause, go back? Yeah, that one there, but how concerned are you about, yeah, last time I believe we talked about,
The responses are probably at the bottom.
if so,
60%.
where? Did that get was that part of it still?
Yeah,
I
it's
think-
just right here. The thing that I'm about to show you is that for some reason on this summary page here in Google Forms, it displayed very weirdly. So this is how it came across. So what I can do is I can come over to here if we want to later, and I can like filter to those results on the spreadsheet and we can look more into it. But this, yeah, I don't know what happened here. So I'm going to keep scrolling and then we can review those individual comments in just a second.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
And then this is where some of the comments start. So in your opinion, what are the most important factors contributing to crime and safety issues? I'm going to scroll down to where I remember we kind of stopped reviewing from last time. And I think it was about right here. So all of these ones from down on are going to be new comments. So I'm just going to slowly scroll. Let me know if you want me to stop.
So Robbie, this is Carol. Up above,
Yeah.
there was a comment on that they have a neighborhood watch. Was that by somebody who lives in Troutdale? Because when I did some research on neighborhood watches, there were no official neighborhood watches. They were just neighbors watching out for each other. There wasn't an official.
That's a good question. Yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep kind of scrolling, and then I just pulled the spreadsheet out just off my screen. I'm going to search for that response and see where they're located at, but I'm going to keep scrolling here for a second. I'll leave it there while I type it in. Actually, Carol, they said that they were located in area D, which was down there by Kiku Park, I think.
Sandy Palisades.
Yeah, would that be Sandy Palisades?
It's
Sure, also,
of
It's a
it
huge.
was
257 to the river.
Sandy Palisades.
Yeah.
yeah, it was in area D.
And
So yeah, I'm
Not, okay, C's, that's right.
Interesting, okay, thanks.
and you know what, Carol, it was actually comments like that that I started reading them, and I noticed that there was a trend of people referring to like their own property or their own location. Later on, down towards the bottom, I actually added a question saying, if you would like the committee to follow up with you about any responses that you left, feel free to leave your name and email. I think like 30 people did that on their response. So I don't think that it was enacted or it was like activated when that person left their response. I think that was one of the ones that made me say, what are we talking about here? Where is this action? So for some of these other ones, we should be able to actually get in contact with them. There's a couple of them that refer to their own houses too.
Oh, slow down, Robbie. That-
Good.
I'm not that fast.
Big paragraph, no worries.
That's speaking to some of the stuff we spoke of tonight.
What should I be worried about? Should I be worried about?
All right. Any on that one that we should go back to?
Well, that one that said long wait time for non-emergency calls. Oh, no, wait, go the other way, back. Right there, hold it. Then it says no proactive policing. If I can see the problem, why can't the police? Well, I just wonder, a little bit in that is if we had more implemented like neighborhood watches and things like that going on, there's a way that could be pushed more if some of these things wouldn't be happening.
I believe that's one that I typed in off of
One of those,
one
okay.
of those ones that was filled out, because I don't remember where they lived. I think there was only one that was outside the area. I think everything else was within.
Okay.
But that was one, I'm just like, that sounds familiar.
Well,
Oh,
I
yeah, I
did-
think that's the one that I typed in.
This is Carol. I did find it interesting when I went to the night out at Oregon City. They were pretty organized and with the neighborhood watches. I mean, they knew exactly where they were and who to contact if you lived in that area and you wanted to be involved. But the city also put up some money to establish these. And I've been asking for a while, where are ours and how do we start them? Because I don't know, I would like to start one, and I don't get a lot of information. So I get information from cities outside of Troutdale, but there's not direct information that I'm getting in the city of Troutdale, which would be nice to have. So people would, be more, maybe they would feel more comfortable in having a neighborhood watch committee or meeting in their neighborhood if they knew that there was resources available or some kind of training or information you get either from our website or from City Hall, just how to do that
Can I,
within the city.
Captain, is there something with Neighborhood Watch that requires something out of the police or requires additional trainings or anything like that? Or do you just have a Neighborhood Watch?
So I remember years ago, we did do some neighborhood watches in Troutdale, and the police department's role, we didn't run it. We would get some resources through some city money regarding putting up signage. We'd work with Public Works. We would attend the meetings, kind of what I'm doing now. We would be there to answer questions, to help, but we wouldn't run it. We wouldn't. But they're, and I cannot remember, I'm sure things have changed, but there were online trainings and where you could buy this signage and such for neighborhood watch programs.
I know this might be like a no-brainer, I don't know, but did you find that having neighborhood watches are effective?
Yeah, and we used to, even the sheriff's office used to work real closely with, like, I would say the apartment managers, like Jorgen. We were really, worked tight with Jorgen at Troutdale Terrace Apartments. And I look at that as kind of a neighborhood watch thing, just the partnership and people looking out and communicating with issues that are going on. It's definitely effective.
I mean, I could say for like our neighborhood, we used to have where we would get together as a neighborhood like a couple times through the year just to check in with each other and, you know, continue relationships. But people come and move and they, you know, they pass on, or, you know, you get new people. When you're working all the time like I do, I don't have a lot of time to go out at 8 o'clock at night and meet people, nor do I want to knock on doors at 8 o'clock at night. And so I was just trying to think of how can we as a community in the city of Troutdale build more watches within the communities,
Yeah,
and then really say how important they are, and have Troutdale say, hey, you know, there are some monies that we could help provide to start. Like, there's no way I could personally go and have signages made. I mean, that's not cheap. And so just kind of trying to figure out how to get all those things started and see what neighborhoods are wanting to start them.
I mean, I think that, oh, sorry, Twyla.
Oh, yes. I just wanted to piggyback onto that comment. One of the roles of another committee that we're developing and bringing to City Council for support is the Citizens Advisory Committee, and part of our goal for next year is to do outreach to the different neighborhood associations and create some connections between them and that committee. And as we do that work, that might be a natural starting point for something that we could maybe piggyback onto that with, if it is something that the group decides they want to move forward.
This is Sherry. I was just gonna say that I know that in today's technology, that Nextdoor app does a little bit probably of what Neighborhood Watch does insofar as, if you're on it anyway, I understand that there's things reported about things happening in the area.
There
Watch
are,
out for coyotes.
Yeah.
but you don't always get it in a timely fashion. There are times that I get them 2, 3, 4 days later.
Yeah.
Like, this pertains to me now, does not. 4
Okay.
days ago it would have, but not now. And so, I mean, there's just, it's not always, you know, up to the minute, the day when you get stuff. Sometimes it is, but not always.
I don't know, I'm not on it, but
I know Robbie's on it.
I am. So the only other thing that I really wanted to share my screen and show you is that there's pretty decent support for the emergency and disaster preparedness training. So a pretty decent number of people responded yes to that. Otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and summarize this. Do you have any traffic related concerns in Troutdale? 2 words: speeding and 257th. That is basically the word cloud that we need to understand from this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out a way to export all of these custom or individual responses. I'm going to email those out to the whole committee there for everybody to review on their own time. This one, as I scroll, there was quite a bit of paragraphs in there that would take a few seconds to read. Same thing with this additional comments or concerns, just some general comments. Otherwise, here was the contact information that I was talking about. So just scrolling up here, some things that I thought were really interesting were that people generally had a lot of faith in their fire and emergency services. There was like 0 responses to 1, over up here somewhere, 0 responses to the how satisfied are you with the fire department services? Similar with emergency services and police services. You can see it was like trending towards up with some apathy there in the middle. But otherwise, I thought that it kind of illustrated the trends that we saw in the last meeting. Even though there was like 20 responses, those trends did kind of still show themselves with the greater number of responses that we received. So I'm going to get all those custom responses compiled for you guys and send them out so that you can all review them on your own. Any other questions on this that I can scroll to?
Robbie, it's Woodrow.
Yeah.
For some of the responses, the generalized ones about how you feel about police, fire, and emergency services, if we broke that out by the geographic locations, A through E, would that, and what would that look like? I mean,
I could do that.
see if there's any underrepresented areas or any specific geographic locations that have different issues than the others.
Yeah, I can do that. I can I'll make that distinction in the file that I send out. I'll be sure to categorize them by the districts that they identified as being in.
Awesome.
So the other thing too, guys, is we should look at those that are not getting a lot of information from it. Hit heavy those people to get the surveys filled out, right?
You mean in location?
Location,
I think
because we
it'll-
feel like we're not maybe getting to hear from that part of the city.
Yeah, I think it will be interesting, Sherry, if we see an influx of more from the water bill going out, and if we get some feedback that way.
Yeah. 'Cause it's-
Again, it's not very noticeable in my world. I would have thought some other color, some other arrow, when we first envisioned in our small group, it was like, almost like, woo, do this, or something on the outside the envelope that was printed on saying, check out the survey. Even if we'd made up a little sticker and stuck it on the envelopes as they went out. Sorry, I mean, drawing attention to it seems like makes more sense, so.
So
Anyway.
I wonder if it's worth me asking the people that put that on, if we could put it in bold red or some other color than.
Unfortunately, the whole
black.
water bill is like capitalized, so just putting more stuff in capital letters in the same color
Did they
is.
put the QR code on it? Or the
I
URL, or-
believe it was, I can't remember right
Yes,
now.
it doesn't have to be the QR because then they have
I
to
think
use
the
a phone
QR
and-
was there on the side, probably when I took the verbiages, I was just trying to show you what that looked like, but.
Okay. Okay, so now the other thing is reaching out further. So I will get them printed, 75, and I think that what was suggested is like quarter sheets is what you guys said. Is that what you guys said? Quarter sheets to hand out? I gave him the same thing, and we had some of those at City Hall for people to grab. And then where else should we put them?
And can we put a Troutdale logo on it just so it looks official? So
Oh,
it doesn't
okay.
look like I'm, right?
Data
Well,
harvesting.
does it make sense to, on there, just with the QR code, also put the URL in case someone wants to type it in?
Because I do have some residents that, I wonder if they even have smartphones, so.
Okay, but
Yeah.
I know that's harder when you have to type in this long thing. but-
Understood, but I
But still,
definitely
maybe,
have,
yeah.
I definitely know a couple of people that are, if I give them a QR code, they're just gonna go, yeah, I'm not gonna do this.
This is Sherry, I'm gonna volunteer that Woodrow type it in for them.
I will, I'll do it, for cookies. There's a charge.
And you
There's a
are-
Do you have a specific cookie?
So that seems like if we had
Maybe
sheets
without
that were
nuts.
quarter sheets, or do I need to make them smaller that big?
Quarter seems large to me, but
Is it, you want smaller than that?
Cause it looked like on the water bill, it was like an inch or two, right?
yeah, that verbiage is really small.
Yeah,
So put like 16 on page? I don't know.
you know, cause we can definitely do a lot more with less
It'll be
paper.
busy with all that URL and everything.
Yeah, okay.
The ones that we saw were maybe like a quarter, and it was a pretty picture with like a QR code and taker survey or whatever. It's
I might enlist Robbie to help me if it's gonna be a pure QR code.
Nice.
Okay, well,
I
yeah,
think
so
Robbie
I
just
think
said yes.
yeah, we need to make what's reasonable on a sheet, and then I just need to be able to print off and cut a bunch of these at the city, and then I could supply them around wherever we place. I'm giving you
Yep.
at least 75 of them, and then we'll leave some at City Hall. Okay, so where else do we?
Did we decide about Troutdale Terrace?
Okay, well, so what happened with Troutdale Terrace, let's see, they're the ones that I've sent the information to them, saying, how do you contact your residents, you know, what would work, do we post something, you guys have email addresses? They haven't got back.
Okay.
Fox Ridge, I've heard nothing back from them, I left them a message, and Eagle Ridge has, I got an email from a gal, and she thinks it's fabulous that we care about all of her residents. So she's very willing to email. I said, I'll get you an email, body of an email with nice introducing the survey or whatever, and the QR code and the URL, and you can choose to cut and paste whatever you want to send out to your residents. She said, that'd be great. And I said, okay. So I haven't done that yet, though. I have to do that. So I felt like those were the three I had identified, and I said, okay, you know, I'll just let you guys help figure out where else we're gonna reach out to other people.
I have to be honest, did anyone get on the website and see if we're on the Troutdale websites?
I believe-
Yes, I think we,
Yes.
there's a survey on there.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I've checked, I've seen it. And Victoria said, I don't guess nobody else saw it, I think she said it was in, what's the Gresham Outlook? I think she said it was in the paper, and then she saw it on Facebook, because she sent me an email, good job, I saw it. So it was a couple places, and I have requested, I had talked to, I don't remember who I talked to, remember who, but she helped me, she was writing an article, just a short little blip, and getting it in the Champion. And so it's supposed to be coming in the Champion, and then, sure, I haven't seen it at my house, I don't know when it comes out. I haven't seen it, but that doesn't mean, because I don't get the mail at my house, so I sometimes don't see it for a little bit, so anyway, look for it if it's supposed to be coming out in the Champion.
Sweet.
So,
We
all
don't,
right.
we don't get enough champions to give to everyone, so we only get like maybe 15, 20.
You can also get the champion in the, city hall.
you can go pick it up.
We'll have them that you can pick up.
Okay, so does anyone have any other places, other ways we need to reach out, other than we're all gonna be promoting it, right, on all our committees? I failed last night at CAC, Twilight, I forgot to mention it.
We were busy.
But, yeah, and then promote it amongst all your neighbors. We just wanna try to get a good sense of feeling from our
Can you,
community.
when you prep your little paperwork or whoever's doing it with that information, will you share it with all of us?
Yeah, because you guys could always print them out yourself and cut them out.
Yeah.
you know, it'd be
Or
good.
if whoever it might be, at least I can get some,
Yeah, we can totally do that.
And
Okay.
then I have a question. Was Robbie going to email us the report that he just showed us?
Yeah.
Robbie, is that what you're gonna email us your report?
Yeah, I can email it. And Mary, I don't know if you got my reply to your email, but she requested access to it, and I think to view the responses on a Google form, you have to have a Google account. So I'm gonna send the analog Excel spreadsheet or like some sort of report with all of the responses in it. But if anybody wants me to share it with their email, if they know if it's a Gmail or a Google account, happy to share it with you as well. So you can just go on the platform and view it yourself.
Email, so if you can send it to me, this Carol,
You have a Gmail, Carol, you said?
at Gmail.
Yeah, sweet. Okay, yeah, I have your email, so I'll share it with you right now.
Thank
Robbie,
you.
I'm sorry, I did get your, I just didn't respond back fast
Oh, you're
enough.
fine.
But I do have a Gmail as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, is it that same email that you sent to me?
Yes,
Perfect. Okay, yeah, I'll share it with that too.
thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Anyone, any other comments about the survey? Good, I'm really excited, you guys. It's going good, yay.
Thank you, Robbie.
Thanks, Robbie.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thanks,
Robbie.
Robbie.
Yep.
Yes.
Sure.
Shelby.
And so, yeah.
Okay, so on to number 7, summarize committee goals. Okay, so I think we talked about them last month, really quick at the end, we all did, so I think actually if we even look back at our minutes from October. Right on. Oh, that's the wrong way. Okay, well,
Yeah, it's on the last one, page 4 or 5.
okay. Okay. Oh, yes, there they are. Okay, so I didn't actually, I said we should do that, and I didn't rewrite it out for all of you guys. So sorry, I realized I didn't do that today. So I think it was talked about that we want, well, the first thing that came up was a short-term goal, which was that safety issue that concerns we have in Imagination Station with the surfacing. And do we want to do anything? Do we want to escalate it, tell somebody? Or do we think everybody knows, like city council, that we have concerns about it? Or do you guys want to do anything on it, other than we know it's an issue, we want to see something done, but does anyone want to take any action?
Is that Parks role?
It might be, we were considering it from a public safety standpoint. That's the big reason. And we're just another committee that's concerned about safety. If you guys want to do nothing, because it really has to do with parks, it's okay, I'm not trying to, but we talked about it last month.
Should we
Is there anything you guys want to
contact
do?
Parks and just say it's a public safety? I mean,
I'm on Parks,
My-
we know it.
oh, okay, I figured.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
My daughter was there just yesterday, and she said it's horrible.
Yeah.
And I was there a couple months ago, and it wasn't good either. But she said, yeah, she said, she said, I almost stepped in one of those holes, and she says, it's just a matter of time before somebody sues.
This is Sherry. It's, the thing about it was, I think there was under the assumption that there was less of the budget, about half the amount of money
Right.
that was available. So it was sort of on a pinch, sort of, and there really is a little bit more money to work with. Is it the solve? No, it is not the solve. It will need additional works or whatever. This is sort of the Band-Aid to get you by. And so it's something that's gonna need to be addressed at some point, but
So Parks knows about it,
That's
Yeah.
correct.
it's known about, so basically, okay.
yeah.
Okay,
Then-
so we can move on.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the big thing, it was talked about by as a goal thing. Okay, so then the next thing is, Victoria also talked about CERT, I think others of you guys, Mary, you talked about, so it came up a number of times. So I think that's one of our goals, we're gonna work on starting
Can
the CERT program, right?
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, just a reminder, Ray is having that class on
November 20th.
November 20th. Rich and I are doing it. He doesn't know that yet, but we're doing it
Are
together.
there openings?
And yes, you have to contact Molly, but on the website, there's a way to sign up for it, and it's also in the champion, or if I remember correctly. But it asks you a lot of questions. You have to set up an account, you have to put some information in there.
This is Sherry, I'm gonna make a comment. I started to sign up, and then when you have to agree that they can harvest your data, they can collect all sorts of different information on you, I stopped doing it, because to me that feels like if I'm going to something at the city of Troutdale for some training, some side entity shouldn't be collecting data from me.
So,
Why does it want my birthday too?
so this is what I did, is I complained, is I said, I'm not gonna give you my real birthday, you don't need it for a class. You don't need to know all this information, I don't wanna sell my information, I don't want you selling my information. And so I just came up with a number. I came up with a year, I came up with a number.
Tell me, I'll put it down for mine too.
Everybody's born on the
This is
same
not a
day.
business. But then I did complain saying that to sign up for a class, they do not need my information. And Molly had said that they needed the birth date because it was for adults. So they didn't want somebody who was 10 taking the class. It was for the adults, wanting to make sure you're adults.
Why didn't they
Or just
ask the
check a box.
question,
All I
are
had
you
to say that.
18, over 18?
So I would recommend that, maybe somebody from here can call Ray and kind of, let Ray know that it's an issue.
This is Sherry, based off, we saw people interested in emergency preparedness trainings, that kind of stuff. I'm certain that we're not the few that disagree with that there's probably plenty of people that might start that process and say, forget it.
There was like 84 that looked, if I remember correctly.
84 people signed up?
No, there was like a certain amount of slots. And it
75
was-
total.
Was it 75? I was thinking it was 75.
Yeah, I just signed up.
And it's not full.
That's why.
Twilight.
I just want to play the devil's advocate. I've been using that website to register for Troutdale events since my kids were in grade school, and I've never experienced anything nefarious, and I trusted, and so I did register for the event, and I did use that, but I think I just want to, everybody has their opinion, but I was fine with it.
And I do believe that there are people, and I just, from my point of view, that's what stopped me from doing it, because I don't believe there's any reason that information needs to be taken.
Yeah, I also am pretty boring, so I don't care if anybody has my birthday. Like a card or a discount in June.
Okay, so, do you think that, I'm gathering from a few of you guys, you probably think that's discouraging people from maybe signing up? Maybe.
It does, I think it does.
It should be a lot easier, because granted, it only took me a couple minutes, but still, it was like, put in your address, put in your phone number, which cell phone carrier do you use for your mobile phone?
And why would that matter?
Exactly.
So,
Well, if you want to, I think you can opt into text and things.
But I still think in today's society, with the technology that we have, it's easily taken, it's easily stolen, it is easily abused. And if you have a lot of your personal information out there, it can be taken.
Yeah.
Okay,
Anyway,
And you can't, in some cases, you can opt out of them taking data. This one will not let you go on.
no.
It's a force, so.
and then the other weird thing is you have to add the session to your cart even though it's free, and then you have to check out. It just like, why do I need to add a no-charge event to a cart and then go through the whole checkout process?
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I might call and express a little bit of, maybe that's too much stuff, because that.
Oh, good,
I have
good
to-
gravy, now it wants my emergency contact information.
Yeah, it does.
You might pass out during it.
It's not, you're not.
You're right, I'm that age where anything like that could happen at any time.
What age did you put in?
1900,
Didn't ask me.
01, I'm 184.
Okay, well, so we want to start a CERT program, so I guess that will be something that I think actually Victoria identified, that we need to find a sponsor first, and then we have to,
Well, the sponsor is either gonna be fire department or fire department, right?
For cert, I believe so.
Yeah, it's
you have
under
to
the
just
fire
get a fire
department.
department to sponsor you, okay. Well, it might be a little hard, we're negotiating right now, so maybe.
Well, but I don't know
Maybe
if
that goes
they
in easy.
sponsor you. I think that they just have classes
Yeah,
to
they-
certify you. It's not a sponsorship that
But
I
she-
remember.
They used to provide the instructors.
Yeah.
She just said to get it started, which would require a sponsor and then contacting CERT to get some instructors. I'm not familiar, so I just don't know what, I might reach out to Victoria a little bit more on this, but, okay, so that's one of the goals, we'll work on that. We'll put that on our agenda to talk about next steps for that.
So
Okay.
Captain Bevins, have you, I'm sure you've heard of CERT, so do you have information?
I don't, no.
Okay, it'll be on ours to talk about.
I think they have a good website though, so.
They do. lots and lots
We
of
can maybe
information.
next
Okay,
time,
so
if we have
everybody-
time, we can pull it up and look at it
Okay,
together.
okay. And if anybody has any, finds out any information, bring it next time for us to talk about. Okay, and then let's see. Other thing that she had on her list was cadets and explorers. And that was, you were taking kind of the lead, I guess she says. Woodrow's already working on that, so does,
True.
that's another one of our,
And we just replaced our district executive, the scout district that Troutdale comes into. He's moved up to a council level position for fundraising, which is awesome because it's gonna give him more access to, people who can provide financial resources to improve scouting in our area. So we do have a new person that's coming on board. Haven't met him yet, but once we get them settled in, I will bend his ear and take him for coffee and tell him what he needs to do, so.
okay, so that's good. Okay, then let's see, Twyla stated we should get in front of stated if the new counselors coming in, it would be good to get in front of them and do a presentation. So that might dovetail really well with us following up with the survey. So I think that's what will happen.
We'll get in front of Carol.
Yeah,
Carol, we're
that's
gonna get in
right.
front of you. Congratulations, by the way.
Yes. Okay, and then let's see. I didn't say enough for 12. Okay, that's probably because you said certain other things. Okay, Mary says that CERT's a good idea, and fixing the matting in Imagination Station. Okay? The survey, public input at the meetings. You want to drive more public input at the meetings, so that's the goal is to get the public, but maybe with the survey already, we're bringing awareness of ourselves, maybe we'll begin to get more. So we'll still keep working on engagement with it.
Because when I say it, I mean it within every committee or whatever. Somebody might have concern about safety, but they might have concerns with parks and like to reach out to parks, so.
I think we're stepping over into CAC. CAC's working on stuff like that right now, so.
But it's good to know
But it
that
is-
that the different committees have the same interests for the
Yes.
citizens, which means we're all working together, which we really want anyway.
Yes, it's very true.
And I will say, when I first got on parks and then an alternate here, and I was asked, that was my thing, is like, we need more public involvement, we need more input from them. So it's not like, I'm glad if CAC is, going forward with it too and stuff. I just think however we get it, let's get it.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. So it's good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what else. Okay. Remind us the disaster preparedness. Okay, so does anyone, you weren't here, or were you here, Woodrow? Okay.
No,
No,
Did you have anything else what goals that you have? Sorry.
so, I'm on board with CERT, of course, I'm on board with, the Explorer and, the other programs we have with scouting. The, disaster preparedness, of course, I like doing that as well. The other thing, I just, wanna talk to, or, explore the community policing initiatives. It seems like in the last year, we always found out about them after the fact. And it'd be nice to, see if there's a schedule of any type of community policing activities, or if there's a program of if you're gonna go talk to the community businesses about, shoplifting or whatever trends or activities that is going on, that we kind of have an idea of what those look like ahead of time. Because maybe we can, get other businesses to sign up and fill the seats, or, you know what I mean? And then, any issues or concerns with training, open positions, and, things that, again, stuff that we can be involved with. And, I had a handful of Eagle Scouts that are always telling us how they always want to be part of law enforcement or police and fire. And it seems like a really good fit, but we just don't know until it gets published way down the line that, oh, we have this many openings going, or we're doing an academy and we need to fill these seats. And, we can, you know, be proactive and get on the front end of that.
An academy for what?
Well, I know the fire academies, they create those when they have so many, a need. I don't think that there's a law enforcement type police academy, so, but just anything that we can do to, one, identify proactive, you know, community policing activities. I know there's some things that you can't share with us, you know, special operations or whatever. But if there are ones that we can participate in and get the word out, we try and do that. What else? I think those are the two biggies, you know, staffing and hiring, and then community policing type activities.
Staffing and hiring?
Yeah,
for
just
the
to
police.
identify,
So
yeah.
is that's what you're kind of, isn't that what the Cadets Explore Things program is trying to?
Well, that's
Identify and get-
before that.
Oh, that's
The cadets and that level is still too young to be
Oh, yeah, okay.
a full-blown, you know, police officer, or even a trainee or a correctional officer. It's like, it's more
So
of
you're
a,
talking about after that age, like when kids are a little bit like they're in ready to be out of high school and
maybe after
being
college too, right? But-
college or so
Yeah.
that they could be, if they had some interest, there was a program or something that we're working with.
Well, just being to know the availability, right? If there is an open position that comes up, if there's any type of, now granted that, with the sheriff's office, that may be a whole different pipeline. I was thinking, you know, the Troutdale specific, but I don't know if there is a Troutdale specific hiring pipeline. It's all part of the county, right?
The only,
Yeah.
we don't have explorers
Yeah.
or cadets.
Yeah,
I would
county.
say search and rescue.
Well, SAR, and that's over in East County too. We already have a program in the East County that's doing that. And south in Clackamas too, there's also SAR down there.
This Sherry Woodrow I thought scouts sort of at 18 blossomed out and weren't scout, I mean, they're forever scouts, but
No,
not.
that's the old way of thinking. So no, our programs, you have to have your Eagle done by 18 or you're done, right? So you can get 18, you finish with the scouts part. And then you can go on, there's another co-ed type of scouting called venture, right? And that takes you all the way to 21, right? You can still be a participant in leadership and do all those exciting things in venture crew. And then we have our, it's the group that does more of career, you know, experimentation. And that's what we're talking about with police, fire, SAR. And we also have, also down in Sandy, we have DVM. So these are youth that are wanting to be exposed to and understand more about what it takes to be in that career field, right? And that's a separate program, but you can be cross-enrolled. You can be in scouts, right, up until you're 18. And then you can still be in these types of, you know, venture crews after 18. You can be in the Explorer post, which is what we're looking at with police, fire, and SAR. You can do that before and after 18.
I think I'm confused as to how our public safety group works on a goal related to this, but maybe you could.
Timeline, because we're trying to do stuff. I mean, we can have, I guess, ongoing, but we want to kind of have concrete stuff that we're going to accomplish in the next year.
Yeah.
So,
So
So we're gonna keep doing it, and if you guys, you know, we can, I'm sure I'll have a few coffee sessions with the captain here and make sure that, you know, he understands what our goals are from a scouting perspective.
Okay, from a scouting, because I think I just don't know that, it's not my world, so.
No worries.
Carol,
So I do notice here, that you've got a presentation in the future from Wood Village regarding National Night Out. So my experience, and I really wanna stress, is that I think it's a great opportunity that we do that. I think it's a very important opportunity, but you all have to do it. It's so important that you're all involved, because if, maybe you already did this lecture, but because when you're not, it comes on two people and it doesn't work. I mean, it honestly really doesn't. So I think that the idea of you guys partnering with Wood Village or having Wood Village come out and do a presentation to you all, I think is gonna be really important and see how dedicated you wanna be into in this. And then maybe just joining Wood Village for a little while, for a couple years till you get it under
She
your
wasn't
belt.
here.
I wasn't here, I'm sorry, I think I was at a funeral.
Funeral.
I think
Oh.
we discussed last time that most of us don't have the bandwidth to engage
Yeah.
in that this year,
It's
so,
huge.
Yeah, I think we'll,
Yeah.
So
my
the
idea
plan-
is the table.
Yeah, so the plan is to line up Wood Village or Fairview to come and give us a presentation, to just so we know what's involved, and actually that also kind of let them know that you might want to be like a shadowing, or kind of work with your group a little bit to just experience it over there as we learn and figure out how much we want to do. But I thought first we need to hear what it is, and I don't want to promise that we're gonna come help them initially if people are like, yeah, this is too
Well,
much.
you can
So I
all,
wanna
you
figure
can
it
all
out.
take turns. I mean, you can go and take half-hour blocks and sit and just really observe as to what it's all about. I mean, I know some of us went and we saw things in different cities, but you're also not gonna want Troutdale to have the same date as Wood Village or as Fairview or as Gresham, right? You're gonna want it to be all different. So when you take it on, which I hope one day that we do. I mean, I think it's a great thing for our citizens to be involved in. But you also need to involve fire, and you need to involve the police, and you need to involve, the city, and you need, I mean, there's just so many working parts to it that it is overwhelming. And
That's why we want to glean some knowledge from Wood Village or Fairview. Get a presentation, if they could even zoom in, or whatever they want to do, or willing to do. So
that's great.
I'm gonna try to see where they are. It wouldn't be for January, it might be for December, but that was for us to talk about how people feel about what's coming up for December. So I don't want to load December heavy at all. So good, okay. You basically don't have anything else other than maybe if we can do night out, but we don't really know. We don't have it as a goal yet. We're still scoping it out.
The other thing too is you could have, when First Friday starts again, is you can have where you go, where 1 month Twyla goes, like 1 month, Twyla and I went, the next month Sherry goes, and you kind of just do your turns during the First Fridays and get the name out there, get the public safety out there and show pictures of what you're doing and where you're going, and have maybe a better table display, right? The different things that people can be involved in, the CERT program, the
Neighborhood
I
watch.
just lost, the neighborhood watch, all these different things that people can be involved in, and have flyers, and then, have a good display where people can go, oh, that's interesting, I didn't think about that,
And a contact too, so that we can get Sherry's birthday and all her allergies, and we can keep that in a database in the city office.
Sounds like my Bible study. There's been some data gleaning there.
Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Okay, well, does anyone else have anything else you want to add to our goals, or we'll briefly visit them maybe next time, because I kind of didn't bring the list this time, so. All right, nothing else, let's go on to number 8, update from the Public Safety Work Group. I just kind of thought we hadn't heard from you guys in a while, maybe if you have anything to tell us what's going on with or nothing, I don't know. We got 2 of you guys here.
I know you do. I think part of the update is, do you want to go first, Carol?
Nope, go ahead.
Talking. Is that there are 2 now branches. There is a negotiating group, and then there's the wider group. They will not be actively sharing kind of the negotiation piece, because that is a, open, don't want all your cards on the table. Last month Ray brought in some interesting maps that showed just kind of like at certain dates and times where patrols were. And so that was a lot of great information and caused more questions of, they really look to be limited, at least in that data, main thoroughfares and not much within the actual, our little streets and side streets and such like that. So I think we wanted to understand that a little bit more and why and such. And what else am I missing, Carol?
We're waiting for information from fire.
Yes. Yes.
So do you guys, you don't even know when you meet next? You don't have a.
We are meeting
This
on,
month, oh, okay, so you
Oh,
must
yeah,
be
we're
getting an
meeting.
update.
The
Okay.
26th?
Oh, okay.
No, 25th.
yeah, 25th.
Okay, so you guys will have to get some update.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe I was premature, maybe I should ask you this next month. Oh, well, what's going
Oh,
on?
that was interesting to know.
Interesting to know. Okay. Cool, you guys have any questions, anyone else have any questions for these two? No? Okay, thank you very much. All right, so next month, our agenda, I think that we'll, I think it's worth it. I'll see if I can make it bolder on the next water bill. I don't know, I'll just ask if I can.
If there could
Anything
be,
else to make it a little stand out a little more.
yeah, okay.
Just in case, anything they could do to maybe call attention to it easier, but actually, it's a little premature, because maybe we'll find out we're getting a lot of responses, and it's really great. I mean, like, in other words, people are seeing it, but to us, we're not seeing it. Obviously, you didn't see it on your bill, you just open and pay, you don't even look at that.
So, you said you were going to maybe email us?
Oh, yes, and I'm gonna do the,
Okay.
I'm
So
gonna
we can
do-
print it out.
Yes, I will do that before, you guys will get that in between time. I'm either gonna work with Robbie to help me with a sheet to make these QRs, or I'm gonna see what I can do, I guess, on my own, just pasting these in, sizing them down, I don't know. And probably, you guys were thinking quarter sheets, I was just gonna play if you thought that ended up being too big or too small. I know you have something more to say.
Oh, I just wondered, since some of you said you get electronic water bill, Robbie, you said do you see on your electronic water bill that there's asking for the survey?
I did not even look. I'm going to be very honest with you. I have no idea.
Okay, so you didn't look at the electronic version. Okay, do any of the rest of you guys get electronic? I know you don't. You get
Is there a
electronic, no?
way, could we, one of you that gets an electronic water bill, when you have a chance, can you look, and would that be okay to share? If you think it is obvious enough on that?
Just give us your opinion if you see it, if you look at your electronic, if you see it's that very obvious or not.
You mean where you pay online? Do you actually get an
Yeah, probably.
He doesn't get it in the mail, he gets something
Yeah, do you
electronic.
guys pay online? Where you just pull it up?
I'm comfortable sharing my screen right now. I literally pulled it up. I can show you where it's at in the online portal.
I just wonder if it's very obvious. Does it seem very obvious to you?
It's right here. It's not obvious at all.
Oh.
No, I would never see that.
Yeah.
Well, the electronic's even worse than the paper. The paper copy, I think, is better.
It
Wow.
does. It just says to go to troutdaleoregon.gov. That's it.
There's so much other information right there.
Yeah, I wouldn't even see that as.
Okay, so I will make an effort to go in and see if I can meet with somebody about that.
Again, electronically, I might be wrong, but that seems almost like they could make that be a separate line and in totally different.
Or get it the first
Font.
thing.
Yeah,
Or make it be the first thing, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I'll see what I can do to get any sort of improvement and go on the next month's.
This is Sherry, since we're talking about just this one more thing, do we have something coming up where it would make sense to have some more of this that you're talking about? Yeah, is there any events?
There's that,
Is there a Christmas tree lighting
Yeah,
at some
there's-
point?
Winter Wonderland, is
Winter
that something like
Wonderland,
that?
right, that's coming, and then there's tree lighting, is that the same? I don't think that's the same, I'm not sure.
I think, we can definitely,
Especially like this.
sometimes so windy.
It's, I think it's the same weekend, but I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I think the tree lighting is like on a Friday, and then there's the events.
Yeah.
Is it likely to happen before we have another meeting?
And then we
No, it'll
have,
be after our meeting.
it'll be after, I
It'll be
think, and
December.
then
But the disaster preparedness,
is the 20th.
we'd love to have
Oh, have it.
representation there so that
Yeah.
anybody who shows up.
And
Okay.
then there's the fall, art
Oh, that
thing
this
that,
weekend?
at the Glen Otto.
Didn't that happen just this last weekend?
No.
There's
I
another
think I
one.
see the thing there now.
Okay, there's another one.
Yeah.
Um,
There's just so many activities that I can't keep up with where they are, but
Yeah.
those are the two.
Okay, well, no matter what, if I get the sheet with the QR codes prior to the 20th, any of you that are disaster preparedness, or that, yeah, no,
That are going, do you want to?
that are going, you can, if you want to print and bring some, great. I don't know for sure that.
Well, and the other
I'm gonna
thing,
be up
maybe we
that
need a
night.
little table at the end of the classroom session or whatever it is
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah.
Just-
Yeah, that's what I mean, is that you can be, if you're going to, you can be responsible for bringing it there, right? Yeah.
If you
Well,
give me
and I
the
got
QR
my
code,
wheel.
we'll get them.
Remember we talked about getting the wheel? Is that you? Somebody that looks like
You
you.
might not
I
want to
thought
disrupt
somebody-
Ray's environment.
You're
The
The
wheel.
spinning wheel, the option, right?
Yeah,
Come
I
that's,
got it,
Yeah.
it arrived.
So there you go.
I got a wheel.
there you go, so now you can do it. You could do something at the, if you fill out the survey at the
During the middle of
November
Ray's
20th.
presentation, there's
Yeah.
click, 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 click. That'll drive me
good.
nuts.
Okay, so going back to the agenda, I intend to give that stuff out to you guys. I'll get you the sheet with the QR codes, and I'll work on some other stuff like the water bill and get that sheet and contacts with the apartment complex. So, but for next meeting, what are we gonna talk about? Well, we're just gonna talk about the survey, whatever's happened, where we're at on stuff.
Okay.
Okay, that survey for sure, survey.
And then you wanted to, my notes also, this is Carol, that you wanted to continue talking about the committee goals.
Yep.
And that you wanted another update from the Pacific, or Public Safety Working Group.
Oh, yes, if you guys, you know what, we're gonna put it on the agenda, if you have anything, if you have nothing, we don't have to talk about it. I mean, like, if you have nothing from the meeting to basically add, we can just, that was the way we're staying in the loop, I guess.
Yep.
Okay, and, so how about the date, how about December 5th, is that all good with everybody?
Yeah.
6:30, usual? All righty then. Let's see, we'll start with you this time, Woodrow.
I'm sorry I missed last week's meeting. And things are busy at the Costco, so.
Yes, all right, I get it. Carol.
Just so you know, December is my last meeting. I believe I can serve up until when I start swearing in January, and I'm not sure when that date is. So it'll be either December or it'll be January. Will be my last with you wonderful people.
But we'll still,
But we'll
like,
still,
get in front of you.
yeah, you will. I don't see you going away.
Yeah, it's hard. It's like a bad penny.
So, but I encourage you to just let city council know what's going on. Keep them posted.
Sure.
Thank you, everybody. I love it that Robbie's online and he just whips things up just like that. That's awesome. Yeah, just thanks. I appreciate everybody's hard work. Thanks for fielding our questions, Captain.
Mary.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Robbie and Shelby, all of you. And I want to apologize if I maybe got a little inflated with, I just realized that, and it kind of brought back my own personal issue with it, and I brought it to the table tonight. But but, I mean, it is kind of a concern too, but it was a good meeting, and I do appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Twyla.
Yes, well, happy Thanksgiving to everybody, since we won't see each other till after. I think we had a great discussion. Only question is with Carol leaving, do we have minimum membership for this committee?
Well,
That's something to maybe look into.
yeah, this is Carol. I'm glad that you brought that up. Also, you have to make a smooth transition, you will need to vote for another vice chair. So
Oh,
keep
yes.
that in mind.
Oh, yes, okay.
And, I am not sure, I think you would still have a quorum, it'd just be -1, right?
I don't know.
Do we
I
have,
think you're
what was it, a floater? Do we have a alternate?
This just feels small.
I do not think that we have an
Compared to
alternate.
Well, I would like to recommend another gentleman, because I'm still getting a little, only having one.
So-
I got Robbie now too, but still,
So,
I got a co-conspirator, but
I can, let me check what the policies are, because I don't know if you can have people join a committee in the middle of the year. I don't remember ever doing that. I remember having an alternate move up.
Yeah.
we should probably find out if anybody wants to. I mean, maybe we use the survey to try and find potential candidates. And maybe there's a little bit of strategy that needs to be done behind the scenes, but
Well, and then again, it doesn't happen, interviews don't start until
May or April.
May or June, right? I think it's June. And so that just means you're just without a person for, 5 months. I mean, that's not terribly horrible, but I don't know that we have an alternative. I don't think we do.
Okay.
And I mean, I can, bring what the policy is next month, but I do not think that you can just add somebody without them going through the proper channels.
okay.
Okay, so that was Twyla's question. Okay, anything else? All right, Robbie?
Nothing. Sorry that I was planning on being there with you in person, but I had a client meeting with some Australians because it's their morning and ran right up until logging on here. So glad that I could, regardless, be here to, as Sherry put it, whip things out technologically. I just sent out the email with that attachment. Please let me know if anybody has any questions or you can't download it or anything like that. Otherwise, you should all have an invitation sitting in your inbox for edit access to the survey as well. I went ahead and removed all of the selection-based answers from the file breakdown as to not muddy the waters in terms of the responses that you're trying to read there. So it should be condensed. Like I said, let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, yeah, good meeting. Thank you.
Okay, excellent.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's see, the only other thing I would say is congratulations to you, we'll miss you.
Thank you, I will miss you all, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
this would be really sad to not have you be on this committee, but it's wonderful you've been on city council. So, otherwise, thank you, Captain, for being here. Thank you, just Robbie, for your hard work. Just thank you all for participating and working so hard to get this survey up and off the ground. I'm just so pleased that it's gone so far. And happy Thanksgiving. So with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
This is Carol, I make a motion to adjourn.
Woodrow, I second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, Paul has his hand up.
Oh, Paul.
Just kidding, no adjourning.
Okay, Paul, you had a question. I am sorry.
Oh, there he is.
I'm sorry, we didn't see it. I'm not very good at looking at my screen. So Paul, did you have something to say before we leave?
Yeah, thank you, Shelby. I wanted to follow up on Twyla's reporting on the Public Safety Working Group. If you go to the calendar page on the city's website to their meeting date, you can get access to their packet online, and it has all the information that group sees at their meetings. The last one had the charts and graphs that Twyla was talking about, and those are all provided by Ray Young. And he also provided a 10-year-old council meeting work session where when they were discussing transferring from Troutdale to the sheriff's. So a lot of good information on there. It's readily available. Just look at their packet on the last meeting. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Great. That's awesome, you guys. Check it out if you feel so inclined. That's great. Thank you, Paul.
Sure.
Okay, so sorry now, I guess well, you guys all voted in favor to adjourn, so we are adjourned. Thank you. Thank you.
On time, whoop, whoop.